How's it going, everybody? I am here on a road trip. I stopped to charge and I've got a few minutes, so I wanted to record a new battle video for you all. It's exciting because the new season just started. I know that there were some adjustments like rollout the barrel or the fangs getting boosted, or even the punches, right, have been adjusted a bit as well. There are some slight changes, but I feel like this team that I have here works really, really well. So as we press play, I decided to build this shiny Mankey. It's not my best IVs, but it's got 10 attack. It's going to win a lot of charge attack priority ties, and I still think that Primeape is going to be difficult to bring in Show 6, but I think in Blind 3s in Go Battle League, it's a phenomenal Pokemon. It has the insane ability to sweep entire games, and that's exactly what we're going to do with this video. This video is going to be a fun one because I played 2 sets with this team, and I basically took the most insane sweeps at the end, and I compiled them in levels of absurdity. So you're going to see the first game be kind of like, okay, that was cool, but by the end of the video, these Primeape sweeps are mind-blowing. These are insane, and I still don't know how I pulled some of these off, so I'm really excited to show you. As we Elite TM our Primeape here, this is post-Community Day, but I've got like 40 Elite Fast and Elite Charge TM, so really no need to worry about that. Without further ado, this is the tool, this is the weapon that we are about to deploy. Let's get into these battles. GG Darth Vader. I'm going to go ahead and lead Clodsire. The full team is Clodsire lead with Shadow Feraligatr and Primeape as the closing Pokemon. So we already have seen the first Pokemon. We see the Fortress switch in here. A little bit of visual lag on the Fold switches, so I wasn't really sure if I should throw. I'm going to go ahead and allow the first Rock Tomb to get fired off. I'm going to shield that up, fire the Hydro Cannon here, and try to take back that shield. Opponent does not respect the first Hydro Cannon, so I'm going to go for the second one. I at least want shield parity. We lost the lead really hard with Diggersby, so at this point, I need to make some magic happen. Going to fire the third Hydro Cannon. If I can get both shields here, I do think Primeape has the ability to sweep, depending on the third Pokemon in the back. So we get off a couple more Shadow Claws. Also, shout out to Zweilous and my friend Martine. Zweilous called the Fortress prediction, and Martine made it a reality in Stuttgart. And now we see the Primeape switch in. This is going to be Drifblim. Really awkward timing there on the swap because the Astonish does come through. But I'm able to fire with the first Reach Fist. I need a second Reach Fist ASAP. And my opponent is actually going to, I think that was 5 Astonishes there, but regardless, they're not going to fire charge attack, so we are fully loaded, ready to go. There's a weak Fortress and a Diggersby in the back. I am double boosted. Opponent sees a writing on the wall. That's an easy game 1 win. Going to game number 2, we see the Azumarill in the lead. Azumarill against Clodsire without Sludge Bomb is a little bit dicey, but this team works really well in terms of getting an energy lead and then just plowing through. I was really inspired a lot by SJ's run in Sacramento as well. We thought that Feraligatr was going to be one of the best Pokemon in the max out meta. Turns out that it was. It left briefly for a few weeks, but then ended up coming back. So I really thought that, you know, I'm going to play like SJ and just bank a Hydro Cannon and just spam it and see what I can do. So this Azumarill is going to get to another charge attack. We're going to let it go. This Azumarill is in perfect farm down range though, right? It's very, very weak. Coming in with Feraligatr, they realize that. They go into Typhlosion. If my memory serves me right, this is actually going to be a double fire team. I think there's Talonflame in the back, if I'm not mistaken. It might be something else. But Feraligatr is about to go off. So my opponent is at the double Thunder Punches, but I do have a lot of energy as well. So I go for that Shadow Claw there. I'm going to go for one more. Double shield here. Now at this juncture, I believe I can go for 2 more Shadow Claws before I fire off my next Hydro Cannon, which will take the final shield. My opponent's in a tough spot. Azumarill's weak. Typhlosion is going to eat all their shields if they want it to. They decide to let Typhlosion go, and now that Azumarill is within farm down range, and I don't know what the third Pokemon is, it's Talonflame. Yes, it is double fire, which is a really crazy thing to see at this juncture. But we're going to close in here on the move. My opponent swaps. I'm going to go ahead and go for a massive, ugly Shadow Claw down and absolutely rip that Azumarill into shreds. This is Shadow Feraligatr against Talonflame. Hydro Cannon is enough. That's a Feraligatr sweep. So even though we lost to Clodsire in the lead, was not a big deal. I will say one thing about this team, if you want to play it, I feel like the Clodsire is your primary anti-fighter. So if you run into something like another Primeape or an Annihilape, it can be a little bit tricky to deal with, especially with shields up. We're going to hop into this next game, though, and take on Stud Muffins. This is a Shadow Feraligatr lead, a hard, well, I wouldn't say a hard loss lead, but it is definitely a bit of a tough situation for the Clodsire. Gonna go ahead and shield up here. I'm a Shadow Claw behind, so I'm giving up shield and switch, which is really brutal. And Stud Muffins, as we have seen, most recently Sacramento, is very, very good. They swap into Moltres, and this is not a huge problem, but the immediate nature of the swap tells them, the immediate nature of the swap and then fire the charge attack tells them it's most likely not an Ice Beam. So they do not shield the first one. However, my Feraligatr is ramped, so I'm able to go ahead and fire off a third Hydro Cannon here, which will take that shield if they decide to keep the Moltres. They do not. I've seen the lead. I reached for the Primeape there for a second, but I think I paused. Yeah, I'm afraid of getting Shadow Claw down, but I know it's going to happen. So at this juncture, I need to send this Feraligatr energy somewhere, and I need to be able to manage this matchup as it progresses. Hydro Cannon does get fired off. I'm going to catch the second one here on the Clod, and I don't think this Feraligatr is within Poison Sting range, but they send in the Drapion, which is really interesting. I think I eat an Aqua Tail here and still get to the Earthquake. So now the question becomes, can I manage my energy enough to break the shield and then also KO these two Pokemon in the back? Opponent might actually decide not to shield this. Oh, they do shield. Okay. And they get a ton of Poison Stings there. So it looks pretty dire, right? It looks pretty bad for a Primeape, but just wait. Primeape ramping up. Aqua Tail connects. I need to find the second Aqua Tail. There it is. Able to fire the close combat into the Drapion. I'm only 4 away from the next one. Opponent sends in Feraligatr 1, 2, 3. I'm actually at the Rage Fist first, and that's all we need. So Stud Muffins leads Shadow Feraligatr into Clodsire. I give up shield and switch, and then Primeape sweeps in the back. Absolutely insane. Primeape plays there. It's such a beastly Pokemon, and it wins Charge Attack priority against most things as well. Again, I really like this Pokemon in GBL. I don't know about it in Show 6. Golurk lead, one of the worst possible leads we could see. I'm going to go immediately into Feraligatr. They respond with Dunsparce. So, yeah, this is super uncomfortable. I'm also noticing a lot of these teams are quite weak to Quagsire. I think Quagsire is going to tear it up this season as well. And, you know, seeing it here at the end of the max out season kind of makes sense. So, Drill Run connects. Feraligatr takes it. I'm going to try to go on good timing, but I get punished for it. I do have a lot of energy stored, and it's really tough to give all that up. So I'm going to single Shadow Claw, actually double Shadow Claw for some reason. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. And fire this first Hydro Cannon. Going to look for, actually I do get KO'd, but now it's Primeape time, and we're able to farm quite a bit here. My opponent has done a ton of rollouts. I'm going to have to eat this Drill Run and try to look to Karate Chop down if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we get the full Karate Chop down, which is nice. So I don't have much HP, but I have a boatload of energy, and this Golurk has to respect these Rage Fists, right? I'm almost at 2. Opponent decides to no-shield the first one, which is the right call, but I get to a second one, and you might think this looks really dire. This looks like a bad position to be in, but just wait. Primeape takes down the Golurk. The final Pokemon is the Sand Slash, and we get a third Rage Fist here, which is going to take that final shield. No, it doesn't. It actually doesn't take the shield. And now we've got Clodsire. This Sand Slash has so much HP. It is double resisting these Poison Stings. And at this point, two charge attacks will KO me. And I can't get to 2 charge attacks in time. So I'm actually going to go for the Poison Sting down against the Shadow Alolan Sand Slash after a no-shield of the Rage Fist. And look at this one, too. And we get the KO. No charge attacks needed. Let's get into this next game. This is at nighttime now. I played these sets kind of staggered throughout the day. Shadow Drapion lead, which can be a little bit tricky for the Clodsire. The Aqua Tail spam is undeniable, and with the shields up, the rest of my team honestly has a difficult time against this Pokemon. So I'm going to build to the Earthquake and bait the Stone Edge here. Aqua Tail gets fired off. Clodsire shrugs it off. I think 2 more Aqua Tails would likely KO, right? So I need to keep that in mind. They no-shield. They no-shield a potential Earthquake, which breaks my brain a little bit. That's crazy that they would no-shield that, but I guess they just had a feeling. Gonna reach for the Feraligatr here with the idea to soak the back-to-back Aqua Tails, because I know they've got 2. I succeed in soaking, and now... Don't clip that. And now I'm going to look for another charge tag. It will be another Aqua Tail. I had to call that for a second. I was like, wait, are they only at the Aqua Tail, not the Crunch? Anyways, they swap in. They're going to go ahead and send in their, I think, yeah, Azumarill. Gonna go for the double Hydro Cannons here. This is a little bit dicey, but I know the Drapion is weak. We've seen Shadow Drapion and Azumarill so far. Gonna look for the Primeape swap here because I want to get some energy rolling and ramping up. Opponent is gonna go for Charge Attack. It's likely an Ice Beam, but Primeape is so fragile, you have to shield most things. It is another Ice Beam, as we expected. Gonna go for 4. I could have thrown a single one and converted that into the Rage Fist energy, but I think what I'm trying to do, yeah, I'm trying to keep some stored energy going to this next battle, or this next matchup. Drifblim switches in. This Rage Fist is going to mess it up, so they are forced to shield. I go for another Rage Fist here to take away that final shield or the Drifblim, and I'm going to get the former. Now, my opponent is putting me in a tough spot. I've got to catch, and I switch into Feraligatr to absorb this energy. However, I do end up giving up my boost on the Rage Fist. So I have to come in here with Clodsire. I'm going to go ahead and fire the Stone Edge. The negative side of this is that the Stone Edge is not enough. My opponent is going to continue to farm. They're going to try to Astonish down, but they fail. And Clodsire gets to a second Stone Edge. Massive mistake. My Clod hangs on with just a tiny sliver of HP. And now I've got a Protect Shield, and I've got a wily Primeape. This is a crazy matchup because I know my opponent is trying to strip the shield and then combo play. So the next move here is incredibly risky. Ice Beam, shield, blind fire the Rage Fist into the Shadow Drapion swap. This is going to connect. I win the Charge Attack priority. I get the KO. In comes Azumarill, and I get to the second Rage Fist. This is absolutely insane. A half-second hesitation there on the Shadow Drapion swap would have meant a game loss. That would have been it. Lights out, curtains, call it. But I called the switch in. I threw the Charge Attack, connected there, won the Charge Attack priority, and that won us the battle. So definitely a fun time. Last battle of the video. This is the craziest sweep that we had with this team. Malamar lead. Not a great position to be in. I go with the Shadow Feraligatr here. Gonna fire the Hydro Cannon off immediately. Malamar really has its pick of what to do in this matchup, and it can be very, very tough to know how to respond. They can go for the double superpowers. They can foul play and then superpower. If you look at the pacing, it's only 5-4 in terms of Shadow Claw equivalent to the superpowers, and then the foul play is only 6 to the first one, right? So it's really tough because you do get outpaced as the Feraligatr here. But I do take the shields, which is really nice, and when the shields go down, Primeape goes to town. I think about shielding here, but I recognize my opponent probably has a lot of energy. Gonna go in with the Primeape, and this is a little bit crazy, but I get to the Rage Fist here. This is only gonna be neutral into the Malamar, but I'm trying to ramp up. I am trying to accelerate the damage. My opponent does fire on the Charge Attack priority and barely hang on. Maybe you could argue just one Shadow Claw or one Karate Chop difference. We hit the Karate Chop down. Opponent comes in with a Drapion, and at this point I need to fire on the Aqua Tail Charge Attack priority. I YOLO this close combat into it. I need to see that third Pokemon. Bam! There goes Shadow Drapion. In comes a Diggersby, trying to get to the Fire Punch for the KO, and I Charge Attack priority tie again in order to fire off this close combat. It's single stage boosted, and bam! Lights out. Bye Diggersby. What an insane set of battles with Primeape. This Pokemon is so fun, and honestly I did 2 sets with this team. Those were the most fun battles that I played, but it has got enormous sweep potential even in this new meta that we're headed into. So give this team a try. Go ahead and follow Dracoviz as well. That's where I got this team idea from. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.